Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Careful. I'm your host Faith with our co-host Fontaine.
Hi.
There. So today we're going to talk about just everything in general, like what's going on in your individual worlds. What's going on with you, Shanti?
Ooh, a lot. Let's see. Where do I begin? I guest spoke at a school in person for the first time the other day, which I do a lot of like virtual like guest speaking, but I actually got to go to a school for the first time and like talk to the kids and read my book, and
Awesome.
I thought that was so cool.
And what else did you talk about?
So for the younger kids, so I spoke to several grades. So for the first to third graders, I read my children's book. And then the older kids, I read the first chapter of another one of my books, which I don't have here, but it's The Bane of Angel Fall Academy. And then we talked about it, and then I also like walked them through how I publish my books.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Fontaine.
Thanks. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. It's like a little quiet. Is it? Wait. Sorry. It's like I can't hear for some reason. Wait.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
What else is going on?
Ooh, let's see. In terms of oh yeah, I'm getting ready to go to Miami. I've never been to Florida, so I'm excited. Because I'm going to like receive a book award, and finally, and actually I conveniently have it right here. The fourth Never Dying book releases in I guess it's 20 days now, and I'm really excited because I've been working on this series since I was like 14, so it's really nice to just see that like finally done, and then I can finally like move on to other projects. But also I have a feeling I'm gonna end up writing more in the series just because I'm having a hard time letting go of it.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
How's it going at school? What is the feeling of everything going on at school with everything happening in the world right now?
Oh yeah, I really like school. For me, like school is definitely like a really safe place. It's like really fun. So like I'm really enjoying my classes this year, and I'm really enjoying like kind of getting to talk about like what's going on in the world, and like getting to like be engaged in like everything, and also like just getting to like learn new things. And I think it's like the trimester's almost ending, so I have like all these like term projects I have to do, which can be stressful because there's a lot, but it's also really exciting.
Well, I'm glad that school is doing good for you.
Thanks.
So, how is the bullying situation at your school versus what you've been through? I know you've been through a horrific experience.
Yeah, so my current school is definitely a lot better. Like I feel really comfortable in that environment compared to like previous places I've been in. It's definitely I don't want to say now that I'm older because I know there are some other high schools where bullying is a very serious issue. But right now like I've managed to get myself in an environment where I'm comfortable and I really like everybody, and I hope people like me. I think they do.
Loves you. Everybody loves you.
Agreed.
Thank you.
So, what is your next step for your next book? What are you going to be working on?
Ooh, okay. So I just wrapped up this like really quick poetry project. I know I was telling you about it, I think. Yeah. Just this quick like novel told in poetry. So I just finished the first draft of that a few days ago. It's quite short compared to my other books. It's like You Won't Know Her Name length as opposed to these full length novels. So now I'm finally I have a backlog of projects, just like ideas that I really want to start writing that I just haven't gotten the chance to. So for example, there was this prologue of this new science fiction book that I wrote a while ago. I never was like serious about writing it just because it's a big project and there's a lot to think about. But now I'm finally starting to write that one, just like kind of continuing where I left off, like 1,000 words in.
So, moving forward, what do you guys think is going to go on after the new president takes over? What do you
I
think?
gotta think about that one.
What do you think?
Hopefully the prices will be lower.
The grocery prices, I guess.
And life will be actually better.
Because we got to move all together, united together, because we can't change anything, but we just got to, see what happens moving forward.
Agree on that.
Right. Thanks.
Well, I'm trying to figure out like, because I got like a couple things I'm gonna say, and I'm like, what do I say? Because I have a couple of different ways I could go about this. Of course, I mean it's like I don't know where we're going from here. The one thing I do know is no matter what, I get a lot of writing inspiration from the world. So, really, like no matter what happens, if things get better or if they get worse, then like I'm gonna have a new book to write. So,
Are you surprised at who won?
I'd say it's not what I expected. But it's also, I mean, in hindsight, it probably isn't terribly surprising.
Right. So how hard is it? What's the hardest thing about being a young woman of y'all's age at this point in time and what else going on?
I definitely there's a lot going on in the world, and it's like it's difficult for everybody. But I think just there are specific issues that really do affect women, and of course, I mean, for me, I really do care about women's rights. Being someone just both like as a teenager and dealing with a lot of pressures that I feel like are exclusive to girls, but also kind of being in like a professional field and being an author and seeing how like men can be treated differently, like that's definitely like very difficult.
What do you guys think? Are the kids you guys think the kids in your age, and when I say kids, I mean young women, I'm just old. Do you guys think that it's tougher for them if they're in the LGBTQ community, or are there more people more accepting now?
I can answer.
Sure.
Maybe. I think it's yes and no. I think it definitely depends on like where you live.
Okay.
And it's like I think though definitely like being a part of like any minority group anywhere is going to have a certain level of difficulty. Though in some ways like living in like Southern California or actually really just like coastal California in general versus like a state that's like in like a small town somewhere in like the
Like
Midwest
Montana.
or the South. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely a difference.
I also think that's no because there are certain families, like religious families, who can't accept that, and there are some families that do.
Do you believe you are yourself and then you get into the community?
Yeah, I like. Sorry, I don't know how to. Wait, can you repeat that?
If you are, let's say you're a lesbian or you're bisexual or you're homosexual, do you believe that you were born that way and then you discover it as you grow, or you grow up, or do you believe that maybe at some point in time you turn that way and then you come into the community?
I believe you're born rather it being something that like, and of course like things can change,
Sure.
and things can be fluid. But I do think it's like ultimately you are like it's not that it's like a choice, if that makes sense. Yeah.
What do you think?
I believe that you grow into it and so you don't know what the temper or relationship or all that is when you're little, but when you're older, it makes more sense to you.
Right, but you could be born that way, you just haven't recognized it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Do you think that people are more accepting of the LGBTQ community now versus like, your parents' time?
Yes, but there's still a lot of progress that can be made.
And how do you say progress needs to be made?
I think, I mean, definitely on like a level of like policy and politics, then it's like, there's a lot of things that we can do to ensure that there's equality and that people aren't getting like discriminated based on their like sexual orientation or their gender. But compared to, for example, like my parents or my grandparents, there's definitely a lot of progress. It's definitely more like acceptable and safer, but there's still like a lot more that can be done.
I actually agree on that, but it is a little better than it was in the 1900s. And the community was, especially parents were excluded out of everything, and people always look down on the community.
Right.
But now it's a little better as people are getting accepted into the community and accepted as they are.
Accepted as they are. Yeah, so here's the question. So, Shelby, would you have a problem if a trans boy, a trans young man, came into your locker room while you were changing and getting dressed? Would that make you uncomfortable?
Wait, so like someone who was like born
a boy
like,
and transitioning
yeah.
into a girl, because that's in the news a lot, is that the
Yeah.
parents are very much against them being able to go into the girls' locker room if they identify as a girl. And I wanted to know from you how you would feel.
Personally, no, because I don't it doesn't happen very much. You know, I mean, we're all the same age. It's all typically young people, and it doesn't seem to happen that much because typically, I mean, most people just change in the bathrooms and in the
Right.
stalls. So, every person who I've known, who's like a trans woman, you know, we don't really change around each other anyway. And it's like I personally like don't have a problem with it, but also I don't use the locker room. But I think that's very rare, and it's more that it can be like blown out of proportion in the way that it's like publicized, where there's really like, it's not very much happening, and if it is, it's not happening in a way that's like inappropriate, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. You're actually reading my mind because people, adults and parents are, I think, making such a big deal about this that we never hear from the young ladies and young gentlemen about how they feel about it. It's just the parents speaking their side, but you never hear from the individuals who actually go through it on a daily basis. So that's why I was very curious about your feelings about it.
I mean, it wasn't okay a little bit if there was a t-shirt in the locker room with them, and the girls would be like wearing normal clothing, and like men's locker room would be full with no other thing. But other than that, it would be a complete no.
Okay. What age do you believe that it is okay for that to start? I mean, do you believe that it should start in like elementary school, or it should start that individuals who are recognizing that they are transitioning should be able to use these facilities for the gender they're transitioning into?
You want to answer that first one, or shall I?
It's up to you.
You can answer first.
Okay. So in terms of things like locker rooms, first off, I'm not a fan of locker rooms in general.
Yeah.
I much prefer to just, when I had physical education, just to change in the bathroom. So really, like most schools, they either don't require you to have to change for PE or they don't have locker rooms. But typically, if we're talking about bathrooms in general are private. So, like, I think if there's a student, they're young, say they're in elementary school, and because I do know people who have been in elementary school and who have made that transition, then they should be allowed to use the bathroom that they're comfortable in, because ultimately it makes like them feel more comfortable. And really, these kids are too young to know that there's like anything quote unquote wrong about that.
Right.
So it's more that by like forcing them to use a facility they're not comfortable in is then also teaching the other kids that there's something wrong, even if it's not. If that makes sense?
That makes perfect sense.
I would think it would be around 15 or 16. Because that makes more sense. For a kid, like a little kid, they know they're gonna be like a boy or like a girl, but if they change the content, they will most likely lose a part of self and feel confused as the younger generation. But teenagers know a little bit more about it and they want to change gender, that's fine. So if teenagers finally means they're more comfortable that way their own thing, then that is completely fine.
What do you say to the individuals? Because both of you are so heroic and have overcome so much. What do you say to the individuals that may be bullying those kids that are learning about who they are and they're transitioning? And you know what? I'm sure it's not easy for them. And what do you say to the kids that aren't so open to it and maybe they're bullying those kids?
I think that, I would tell them to think about, like, where is this hate coming from? Because at the end of the day, even if, like, they don't understand someone else's lifestyle, what good does it do to, like, hate on someone based on how they identify? Because at the end of the day, it's none of their business.
Right.
And then they're making it like their business and they're like hating, and it's not even going to do anything. It's not going to change this person's identity, or at least I hope it won't.
Right. I think it makes that person more unattractive because they're showing an ugliness about them.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think there's one that they're being bullied because they're transgender and to another gender. Or like some people are non-binary and get bullied because of that. But what the people don't know that bullying them is that they only choose a different gender or non-binary because it's how they feel at the best fit and that they're most likely themselves.
Right.
And that they need to understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it makes someone who picks on others really make themselves look small because that person probably has done absolutely nothing to them. They're trying to become their authentic self, and in turn, they're being belittled by others who've done no wrong to them.
Yeah.
No, that's messed up.
It is messed up. But see, when I was in school, there was never the LGBTQ community. That was not there. And, you know, I want to say we had a few people that were of the homosexual nature. We had a couple that might have been of the lesbian nature, but some people really made life hard for them. But it was not, they didn't have like non-binary and all, they didn't have all of the choices that are out there today. They had, you're either homosexual, heterosexual, that's it. Like there's no, in between. And most people hid it out of fear of what would happen back then. And they definitely wouldn't bring someone of the same sex, like two boys or two girls, to a dance or to a prom or something like that. That would never happen. They would never let them in. So I think in a way there has come a long way.
No, that I agree with.
What do you think we could do? What do you both think we could do to make things better for kids of your generation? How can we help?
Just in general.
Sure. Be as specific as you want.
Ooh, good question. Do you want to go first? Because I would have to think about that for a minute. I got a lot of things I could say.
Well, have at because we're doing this open forum today because I wanted, so many people are talking and it's all, older adults, it's all older parents, and you don't hear from the teenage years. You don't hear from the kids and teenage students about how they feel about what's going on after the election or how they feel about what's going on in the LGBTQ community. And I wanted you guys to, open up and talk about it and use this forum today as an open forum because you guys are the voices for those that don't get a voice right now. And it's almost like so many adults and parents are like not letting the kids and teens talk. And I don't agree with that. And I want you guys to be able to talk. And so this is the opportunity for y'all to stand up and talk for each other.
Yeah, I think you could say that like that's definitely a big thing and how we can make life better for teenagers is to listen. to kind of value our opinions. I know teenagers, aren't old enough to vote, but I know we all still have opinions on like policy and government and all of that can be incredibly helpful just to listen to.
You all have better opinions than some adults. You do. You guys are more informed and more educated than some adults are. I'm just saying. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think like also like kind of with that, like making education more accessible to everyone is definitely a real way that we can improve life for teenagers. I know a lot of like teenagers and kids are like, oh, we hate school, and that honestly often reflects on the school, but not the idea of education. So making schools safer and more comfortable environments for students to really explore what they're interested in and learn is a way that we can definitely just improve life for like all teenagers.
I agree.
I think that for the LGBTQ community, they need to know that it's safe and that they're loved for who they are. Non-binary, lesbian, bisexual, gay, no matter what gender they are or what who they love, they should know that they are appreciated and that no matter what, there are always people there for them.
I agree. What else do you think the young adults of your generation need to say and be heard about that aren't getting the recognition and the availability to talk about?
Do you want to go first?
That they need to let their voice be known.
Well, that's what you guys are doing. You're voicing for them, because, and we're gonna also offer for other teens to come on and start talking with you guys to talk, because y'all are the voice. Y'all are using your voice to help so many others.
Cannot like when they're talking for them, but then you can have a voice of their own for themselves. Like find a way to get their word out, like through poetry or through writing, or get even through simple things by talking to a friend or family member.
What if they have no support?
And if it's saying I won, that if they're not there for you when it's down, like for your words when they're down, they're going to be very painful when they're up. Meaning that if you're not there for you when you're down, do not let them be there for you when you're finally up. And made it through a lot.
That's excellent advice.
Ooh, I feel like everything that I would say has already been said in terms of the question. That was a good answer.
What do you guys think about having other teams on for a more open forum to discuss how we can make a difference and try to start making differences? Because you guys are the voice, and you guys have millions of listeners, you have millions of followers. Between the last 2 shows that you both did, there was like 6+ something million. Yeah. So you guys have the voice and you have the platform, and you guys can do it. You can help others learn how to do it. So we want to be able to make changes for the best, for the better, for our next generation, which is you guys. How do you think we can start using this platform to do that?
Yeah, I think that would be amazing.
I think I want to too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will help them in any way possible, and I know that there are people out there in pain who have been through hell and back, like me and Chelsea have.
Y'all are two both amazing, strong, beautiful young women who are published authors that have gone through hell and come back on the other side, and you use what you went through to help others, which a lot of people wouldn't do. And so I think the world of both of you. Obviously, you guys know that, but it's the fact that this is your forum, this is your platform. And I was at the grocery store yesterday, and I was talking to a 16-year-old gentleman who wants to come on, and he was so excited because he says there's nothing out there that allows the voices of tomorrow's generational leaders to speak. And I said, oh, yes, there is. And this is what it is. And he thinks it's absolutely fabulous because that's how change is going to get made, is with you guys using your voice to, make things known, how we can bring it a difference to the foot of it. I mean, where do we start? Where do we go from here? And how do we make it happen?
Yeah.
Well, I think that in new generation, they actually help have a purpose in life as the old generation that keep going, the new generation brings the old one to set new rules, new boundaries, and let this is everything right.
Right. So, how would you both like to open the forum to invite people? You guys can send out, give an invitation, an open invitation. Both of you, go ahead, tell people, come on, we can talk about whatever. Just what do you guys want to use your forum for?
Yeah, I definitely know some people who would.
And I know that it'll be a lot of people who like to come on.
Yeah. Because I don't know, Shanti, if you know, but this is reaching the most amazing amount of people. She just interviewed, did you ever watch ice skating? Have you ever watched ice skating?
I don't think I did.
Well, if you Google Scott Hamilton, you'll see that he was an Olympic gold medalist who
That's so cool.
he fought cancer 3 times, and he came from a really unusual situation. Beautiful backstory. He was adopted. He was sick his whole childhood. He's 5'3", and he overcame everything. And he is known around the world as the ice skater who does the backflips on ice.
That's so cool.
And we just spent a good amount of time talking with him. And he even said he wished that there was a forum like this when he was younger, because it's so necessary for kids to be heard. I'm sorry, I don't mean to say kids, teens to be heard. And that's what I want you guys to be able to do, is open the platform and make a difference, because y'all have more listeners than you know.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so cool.
I think everyone out there needs to listen to everyone else and learn from them, learn from what they've been through. And even though they're pain in the neck, it's gonna really try to help them through it.
Right. And what would you guys say to people who right now may be not in the best place? Maybe they're depressed or getting bullied, or they feel they have no one, or their home life isn't so great. What would you guys say to them?
My biggest message is just always like, you're not alone, even though it very much feels that way. I mean, I know it felt that way when I was going through everything, but it's like, in the end, you're not alone. There are people there for you, and there are people who have gone through the same thing who are going through it. And it's really about like finding that support and like finding that community, whether it's like in person or online.
Pick your head up, because no matter what you've gone through, it will always be worth it in the end. And good will come to you. And so one thing I learned, there may be pain, but sometimes pain can get better and help you get through all things and keep you alive, knowing that there's good to come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, how would you feel if we started by asking people to write in and either ask questions for you two, or maybe tell about a situation they're in and ask for some advice? I mean, how would you guys feel about starting with a Q&A session?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be really good.
Yeah. So, why don't you guys tell everybody if you have a question or a situation and you want some answers, to write into you guys, and you guys will let them know. And we don't have to say their names. We can keep their identity safe. And if you want to say, if they want us to say their name, we can. If not, that's okay. We'll make sure that we try to help the best way that we can. Right, girls?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, guys want to think about that, and if they want to come on, they can reach out to us as well, and we can get them on the show and talk about certain topics and how we can make change. We need to make change. We need to make this world a better place.
Yeah.
that this world needs to be better. I've become a real lot of bad things going on.
Yes, there are. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we wrap up today?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't think so. I think we covered everything.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
Take us out.
Uh-huh. There's another episode on a Christmas Smile Cream Pop, and we'll see you next time.